Good afternoon, welcome back to Moto Maverick USA. I've got some new camera gear for my helmet, and I've spent a lot of years trying to find the perfect setup. I think I'm getting pretty close. So I thought it'd be a good idea for me to go through all of my gear and show you what I've done and what I've learned along the way. So let's get into it. Alright, so here's everything that I have that I've used over the last several years. So I figured we'd just start at the beginning and I kind of go through my thought process on everything and how it all evolved. The first helmet I had was this Shoei GT Air 2. And I just had a GoPro mount that I glued onto the side of it. This is before chin mount happened. But what I had to do was use this monstrosity to get from the side of the helmet to kind of close to the front. And I had this cage so that I could use the ND filters. I started experimenting with those a little bit. This is the GoPro Hero 6 that I have in here right now. That was where I started, bought that refurbished on Amazon when I got all of this stuff. Got the ND filters. This cage is pretty cool because you can just screw on and unscrew whatever ND filter that you want to use. Really versatile, and also helps to protect the lens of the camera. This is really heavy and really bulky though, so I got away from this fairly quickly. Next I moved to another GoPro style mount, but it was on the front. I found one that fit here. So then I moved to, and the other thing that I couldn't plug in the microphone to this because I didn't have the GoPro microphone adapter. So next I found this. So this has a spot for the GoPro adapter. You put your camera in there, plug it in, and then you can plug in your microphone here. I have the Purple Panda mic in my helmet. So this was a little slimmer, more lightweight. This is plastic, this cage is metal, so I was able to save some weight there. And then I just used, you know, a J connector here to hook into the helmet. Then came the chin mount, which this particular one, in order to fit this helmet, has a lot of ridges in it, and I had some issues with this starting to fall off, so there were some issues there. I also didn't like these plastic connectors. As you can see, it broke. I've gone through several of these. They're just cheap plastic, and the last thing you need is your GoPro falling off of your helmet because the connector broke. Then what I've been using lately is this GoPro Hero 11 Black Mini. It has the connectors on the back and on the bottom, but in order to save weight and space, I got another one of these GoPro mic adapters and I just glued it to the bottom of this. So that's not coming off, but it makes it really convenient. It's a lot smaller package, and I can still use ND filters on this with this ND filter kit that I picked up for this camera. I've really enjoyed using this setup. The couple of downsides to it: the battery's internal, so you can't swap it out and put a new battery in just so you can keep recording. So every time it dies, I got to plug it in, charge it before I can record again. So that's been an issue. Also, it overheats. I'm in Texas, so a lot of the time I'm riding in the heat and it gets pretty hot. Even with the wind coming across it, it still gets pretty warm to where I can barely touch this heat sink in the back because it just gets so warm. Another downside is just with the GoPros is every once in a while this won't connect to this correctly, and I just don't get any audio. So I had a ride a couple of weeks ago where it was a great ride, just did not get any audio because this wasn't working. So I'm getting kind of fed up with the GoPro system. So I've got another camera that I'm going to talk about here in a minute that I'm hoping is going to solve a lot of these issues. Next, I thought we'd go through and weigh some of these so we could see the difference between them. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but it's at 0 grams. So let's weigh this monstrosity here. That is at 296 grams. And yes, there's a battery in there. So 296 was the heaviest thing that I was carting around. Just the camera is 112 grams. So that's a pretty beefy case. Next, I moved to this. More compact. 181 grams. So less than the metal case, but still pretty heavy. Next was the 11 mini. 198 grams, so still pretty heavy. A lot of that's not just the camera itself, but this GoPro adapter also weighs a noticeable amount. Let's see what that is by itself. 28 grams. So that's some savings if you don't have to use that. The next change that happened was I got a new helmet. I realized after many years of riding that my head is actually a round oval and not an intermediate oval, which is what the Shoei is. I just thought that that's how helmets fit, and I tried on one of these Arai Quantum X's and it just fit like a glove. So I've learned that about myself. So if you're new to riding, I would definitely suggest trying on a couple of different shaped helmets so that you can get a really good idea about what your head shape is. Anyway, that's another video. When I bought this, I went ahead and got a chin mount for it because it was a lot smoother. It doesn't have the extra ridges, so I thought it would adhere a little bit better. And I haven't really had a whole lot of issues with it other than when I first put it on, it didn't quite seat, so I had to take it off and I got some new 3M tape, cleaned it all up, heated it up, reattached it, and I haven't really had any issues with it since. But the downside of this system is you still have to use these connectors. And like I said, I was on, I've had a couple of these break on rides, and then I can't shoot any video because I don't have a way to connect this to here. So it was kind of a pain in the butt. So I've got a new system that I want to use to replace this chin mount bracket here. So let's talk about that next. The next item that I'm going to talk about right now is this Motoradds flex mount. They have a couple of different ones, but this one is just a flexible material with the GoPro style mount directly on it. So you don't have to deal with any of these clips. Whatever camera you're using, you can just attach straight to it, and that just eliminates another failure point. This will flex and bend to whatever helmet shape that you have. I wanted the smaller one. They have another one that wraps a little wider around the helmet. I'll put a picture of that up so you can see it. But I like the fact that this one was smaller and maybe a little bit more inconspicuous so that you can't really tell that there's anything on there. They also give you an extender that I may or may not need to use. I'll just have to kind of figure it out once I get it all put together. All right, so the next step of this process is going to be to remove this old chin mount. So I'm just going to try heating it up, see if I can pry it off. There we go. And naturally, because I wanted it to come off, it didn't want to, but I have had these come off before, so that's surprising that it was on there so good. All right, so let's get this new one added. I'm going to go ahead and heat this up a little bit just so that it sticks better. And we'll just put it right in the middle. And press. All right, so while that's setting up, I'm going to talk to you about the next thing that I'm super excited about. Like I said, I was having some issues with my GoPro, and I didn't like that the battery was internal and it overheated, and I didn't always get the audio So I decided to try out a new camera. This is the DJI Osmo Action 4. It does have a battery in it, so you can see that the weight difference, and the mount that's included should fit pretty well on that Motorad mount that I have on the helmet. I also like the fact that this is a quick disconnect with the magnet, really secure. So if I get another one of these, then I can mount it somewhere, easily take the camera off, put it on the next thing that I'm going to be filming from. So let's go ahead and get a weight on this. I'll leave the mount on there since I had to have a mount on the other one. 162 grams. So not only is it lighter than the others, but it's compact, and the mounting system is going to be a little bit more straightforward. So I'm really excited to get some footage with this and play around with it. I try to stay away from these massive thumb screws. I know it's convenient, but it's bulky. I just don't like the way that it looks. So what I've done is I've bought some of these screws that are the correct threading and length for GoPro mounts, so that I can just get an Allen key and connect it, and it's there permanently. Just gotta find the hole. There we go. So that's as far back as it's going to go with the stock mount. So I think I'm going to need that extender piece that they sent along. Just put a finger tight for right now. Probably go down with it, just like that. Oop. And that'll work. All right, so I got it all mounted on there. These are pretty easy to take off, so I'm not worried about that being bulky as long as I just have that on there. But then this just connects right to it, clip it in place, and good to go. Looks pretty good to me. There's one more aspect to this build that I'm looking forward to working out some details on. One of the things that I don't like about these cameras is the fact that your microphone is inside the helmet and you have all these wires going everywhere. So something else that I picked up was this DJI wireless mic 2 that I can connect directly to the camera via Bluetooth. It's got a magnet and a clip. Still working out how I want to mount it inside the helmet and still have it be removable, so I can use it for other things. But that will get rid of all of the wires and having the extra microphone in there and all that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to working that out too. But that is in the works. And then of course I've got the ND filters for the Osmo Action for when I'm filming. It's pretty sunny outside today, so I'll probably run one of these when I go to test it out. Alright, I thought I'd go out for a quick ride just to test out the camera itself. I've got set to 4K 60 right now with the ultra wide, and Rocksteady is on. I do have the shutter speed set to 120 to match my 60 frames per second. ISO is set to auto, and I have an ND8 filter on the camera right now. Looking forward to seeing how clear the image is compared to the GoPro. Of course, all my other videos have been shot with the GoPro. It's a beautiful day out today. The installation setup process on the Motoradds was easy. I do like the way that it looks and the flexible mount versus the chin mount that kind of sticks out inch or so, that 3D printed chin mount. I am not sponsored in any way by any company. However, I did sign up to be an affiliate for Motoradds because I liked the way that their mounts looked. So if you'd like to try out either the flex mount that I have or the wider helmet specific mount that they also offer, head over to their website, which is on the screen right now, and use code MOTOMAV to save 10% on your order. I'm looking forward to getting on the computer and editing this footage, see what it looks like. But I can tell you already that just the setup of the camera and going through the menu screens was very easy, very intuitive. After using GoPros for years, it was not hard to get used to the DJI menus and how all of that works. If anything, I'd say that it was easier to use. It powers on a lot quicker. The app on the phone works very well. As soon as that camera connects, you go to a preview mode where you can edit the settings. On the GoPro app, you have to connect to the camera, and then you have to hit the preview, and then you have to connect it to Wi-Fi. There's a whole bunch of extra steps that the DJI software managed to bypass. So first impressions of the software and connecting it to the phone and managing through the settings is so much easier than the GoPro. All that's left is to determine what the footage looks like, which I want you to make a comment on what you think. How does the footage look? Does it look any different than what you would expect out of this versus the GoPro? So make sure you leave a comment below what you think, and also comment on what you think about the Motoradds mount. Do you think that it's going to save me some time and headache by not having to deal with those clips? I think it is, but time will tell. Thanks for watching the episode, and make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm going to try and get some more videos out. Life happened, so I have not been able to get any videos out recently, but that is going to be changing here in the future. Thanks for sticking around, and I will see you on the next one. Keep the shiny side up.